real estate agent Erin Ackerman is suing nightclub owner David Hodges for medical bills and punitive damages due to an assault. Erin claims she had her top ripped off by the club's bouncers.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 407 on the calendar in the matter of Ackerman versus Hodges. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Hodges, you are the owner of this bar and grill.
It's a corporation. I'm the president and majority shareholder, yes.
What's the name of the club?
Belly Up Tavern.
How long have you been president?
28 years.
In the 28 years that you've owned the club, how many times have you been sued by patrons for having them illegally bounced from your club?
I'm going to guess 5.
Now, Ms. Ackerman, it is your complaint that one or more of the defendant's employees that were employed as security in defendant's club forcibly ejected you from the club. Not only were you bruised physically during that time, but you were also emotionally bruised, embarrassed. The defendant's position is that you were drunk and disorderly and had to be forcibly removed from the club. Is that right, sir?
Correct.
Okay. This is the boyfriend who was with you that night?
Yes.
You are Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Fine. Okay. Ms. Ackerman, tell me what you were doing at the club that night.
It was supposed to be a really good band. We were actually down the way at a grand opening for a tile and bath store.
So you hadn't started out there?
Had not started out, had not had plans or intentions of going there in the first place.
How far was that from the defendant's pub?
Probably about 5 doors north, same sidewalk.
And what time did you arrive at the grand opening?
Around 8:30.
There was alcohol served there?
They were serving alcohol, yes.
Okay, and did you drink there?
I started to have a glass of wine poured for me, but they ran out of white wine, so I had maybe half a glass.
And was Mr. Parisi there with you at 8 o'clock?
Yes, he was.
Were you a guest of whom at this tile and bath place?
A woman named Susie Banks. She was working to open this new store.
When did you leave?
Around 9.
Okay, what happened at 9 o'clock?
Susie Banks gave us tickets.
Look at me.
Gave us tickets for the Belly Up. She said it was a really good band. I don't even recall the name of the band at this time. And she handed us the tickets and talked us into going over to the Belly Up.
And you got there about 9 o'clock?
Shortly after, we did stop at the Wild Note Cafe, which is right next door to the Belly Up, with another couple, and we shared dinner and shared 1 bottle of wine there.
What time did you leave dinner?
I know it was before 10 o'clock.
And you went to Belly Up Tavern?
We went into the Belly Up.
And you gave them your passes?
Mm-hmm.
And when you first arrived, did you have anything to drink?
No, I didn't. It was actually so crowded I couldn't even find my way to the bar, let alone order a drink.
Why don't you pick it up from there and tell me what happened with the defendant's employees?
I had gone into the bathroom.
What time?
I wasn't carrying a watch, so I really can't say. I'm sure that all this was over and done with by 11 o'clock. But when we came out, it was just way too overwhelmingly crowded for me. I wasn't enjoying myself, so I approached Lorenzo, told him that I was going to be leaving, and I didn't mind if he stayed. And I was headed towards the exit when 2 to 3 men approached me from behind. I didn't even see them coming.
And what happened?
And they started to put their arms on me without saying any words. That's my whole argument. I feel that they used excessive force instead of verbal communication. If they would have just spoken with me.
Tell me what they did exactly.
They started to put their arms on me.
What do you mean started to put their arms on you?
Well, they approached me from behind, so I couldn't really see. My peripheral was, pretty restricted.
Right.
And they didn't say anything. I asked who they were, what they wanted. I didn't hear any response. And as soon as they started to touch me, I started to shrug them off, shake them off, because I didn't want them touching me or on me. And they wrestled me to the ground and picked me up by my ankles and my wrists and carried me out the front door. And during the struggle, unfortunately my tube top had slid down around my waist, so as they were carrying me out by my ankles and my wrists, I couldn't even pull up my shirt. My whole upper body was exposed.
And what happened?
They dropped me off out front, and police came, and a friend drove me home.
Is there a police report?
I heard that there was a police report.
You don't have
I don't have it.
Fine.
I have a sheriff's report from when I made a report about not even 2 days later.
So you were not physically injured?
Minor scrapes and bruises all over my body, my back, my shoulders, my arms,
Do you have
my
any
wrists.
photographs for me?
No, it claims right here in the sheriff's report that he does note all of them, and he admits that when he tried to photograph it, the lighting was wrong. He shot directly.
I'd like to see that.
I highlighted that section with the actual injuries.
At first, you told the detective that you did not wish to prosecute the case. Is that right?
Yes.
What changed your mind? Did you see a lawyer?
I believe.
The answer is either yes or no. Did you see a lawyer?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I spoke with one on the
phone. How many days later did you speak to a lawyer?
The next day.
Did you go to the hospital or an emergency room that day or the next day?
No, I did not.
Was it at the suggestion of the lawyer that you called and make this sheriff's report?
I do not recall.
Sure you do. The only intervening act between the time this incident happened and the time 2 days later, not related to this incident, was your call to a lawyer. Is that right?
I did call a lawyer the next morning.
Fine. You also told the detective that you were going to see a doctor that day. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you go and see the doctor?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What doctor did you go and see? Was it a doctor, your personal physician?
It was through the Sharp Reese Steely Urgent Care, and I did not have a chance to pick up the records before I left. I do have my chiropractor's report.
You went to a chiropractor?
Yes, she
Had you ever...
referred...
Shh. I'm asking questions. Had you ever seen a chiropractor before?
Yes, I have back problems to begin with.
So you went to see the same chiropractor that you had seen before?
Actually, no, I had never seen James before.
So you went to a different chiropractor?
Yes.
Is the chiropractor that you went to a chiropractor that was recommended by your attorney?
Yes, he was.
It's almost like I have a crystal ball.
Sounds like you've been there before.
Yeah, I have been. Now, Mr. Hodges, were you there that evening?
No, I was not.
Are these your two employees?
One employee and one independent witness.
Who was the employee?
Mr. Samatua, right behind me.
And who was the independent witness?
Joe Taylor, and he's sitting next to Mr. Samatua.
Mr. Taylor, you want to step up here, sir?
Sure.
Were you a patron in the club that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you witness this event?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
How much had you had to drink?
I don't drink.
You don't drink at all?
Nope.
So what were you doing at this club?
Listening to the band.
Other than being a patron and visiting the club, do you know the defendant?
No, I do not.
Now tell me what you saw.
I was standing at the end of the bar, and I was just up stretching my legs because we were sitting close to the stage, and I just kind of heard a ruckus, and she had come out of the ladies' room. And I
Did you see that?
I didn't see her come out of the ladies' room, but I heard one of the bouncers, and I believe it was this gentleman, say to her, "You can't go around shoving people." And then she basically turned to him and told him to go himself.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I did serve her wine myself, and when we did run out of wine, she actually showed me behind my desk where she had a stash of wine.
That's not true.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Aaron Ackerman says nightclub owner David Hodges owes for an assault committed by bouncers at his club. David says Aaron was drunk and belligerent.
Go ahead.
And he got up and he put his hand on her arm and said, "You have to leave the premises." At that time is when she pulled away and he went to grab her again and she started to swing.
What do you mean she started to swing?
Well, she didn't want, she'll leave me alone. And then at that time another bouncer came. And one of her shoes came off because she was kicking so hard and flew back over.
What do you mean she was kicking so hard?
She was trying to get away from him, I guess.
You mean she was standing up and kicking?
Yeah, at that time.
Go ahead.
Then a third bouncer saw what was happening. He came over and she was fighting so hard she slipped and she went down on the ground onto her back. and she was kicking and trying to punch, scratching, and that's when she was exposed on her top.
Did you see her being removed from the premises?
I saw them finally pick her up and take her towards the front door, and that was the last I saw.
You were never close enough to her to determine whether or not she appeared to be intoxicated.
Not really. I couldn't, smell her breath or anything like that, no.
Well, she acknowledges that she was, well, buzzed. Is that the word you used?
I believe it was, yes.
Yes, I see that in the report that you have here. The detective, you say you weren't drunk, but you were buzzed.
It's a little lightheaded.
Does that scenario sound familiar to you?
Not quite.
Well,
I didn't actually start kicking until I was already on the ground.
how did you get to the ground?
They wrestled me down.
That's not what he said. He said that you were kicking so hard that you slipped.
That I threw myself off my feet.
That you slipped.
Fell.
That you slipped and went down.
And no one was touching me on my way down.
Well, I'm not. They were trying to grab her to escort her out the door, and in all the ruckus.
Do you recall the security guard telling you that you have to leave?
He didn't say one word.
Do you recall saying anything to him?
No. Just, what do you want? What do you do?
You don't recall anything that this gentleman says he heard you say, cursing at him?
No.
No.
Not until I got outside. I recall being very volatile.
That's not what he said. He said that within the club.
I did not swear within the club.
You know this gentleman?
I don't. Never seen him before in my life.
Well, he saw you.
Sounds like it.
It does. And he wasn't buzzed.
Good for him.
He was also a mile away by the stage. Excuse me.
You were buzzed too.
We were in a bar, hence the word tavern.
I don't even want your bouncer to testify.
I'm sorry.
I don't even want you. Sorry to call you a bouncer, sir. Okay? You're the security officer.
Security technicians.
What, security technician.
Security technicians.
By the way, thank you very much, Mr. Teller. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
Would you step up just for a moment? I just have a couple of questions to ask you. Do you wear any particular kind of uniform?
Yeah, I wear a yellow shirt that has a staff on it, belly up staff.
Do the other security technicians also wear yellow shirts?
Yeah.
How long have you been employed by Belly Up?
2 years.
Ever been the subject of a lawsuit before?
No. No.
Okay, have a seat. You have any other witnesses for me, sir?
We have Susie Banks here.
Is she outside?
She's outside, yes.
Where would you get her? Susie Banks.
Susie Banks.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Deputy stated Ackerman was very drunk. She swore, staggered, and pushed him in the chest. That's the police officer.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Erin Ackerman is claiming she was assaulted by a bouncer at David Hodges' nightclub. David has produced a surprise witness who claims Erin was drunk.
Miss Banks, it's my understanding from the plaintiff that she was your guest that evening in the opening of a tile store. Is that right?
Yes.
That's what you, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Miss Ackerman says that they ran out of wine by the time she was going to have a glass of wine. She had about a half a glass of wine. Does that sound right to you?
No.
Well, what do you know?
I did serve her wine myself.
You did?
Yes, I did.
How many times?
I don't recall the number of times, but we were all having a great time. And
What did she have? One glass of wine or more than one glass of wine?
More than one glass of wine, and we did run out of wine. And when we did run out of wine, she actually showed me behind my desk where she had a stash of wine. So she had an extra bottle in there for us for when we ran out of the wine.
You remember that?
That's not true.
Then Miss Ackerman says that you gave her 2 tickets to go to the Belly Up Tavern to hear this band. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct.
And what about the other couple that they were with?
They also got tickets.
Fine. You have any other witnesses that you want me to hear?
Just the person that I was with and saw everything happen also.
Come on. Now, Mr. Parisi,
Yes.
you want to tell me what you saw that evening at the tavern?
At the Belly Up Tavern? Mm-hmm. From which time? From when we first got there? Or?
Yeah. You weren't there very long.
We did enter together into the club. We had been there a while. I think I had gotten to the bar and had a beer or two. It was really loud. It's really dark inside there. It's not the
You had a
light.
drink or two,
Yeah, a couple beers. Yeah, absolutely.
but not Miss Ackerman.
I actually wasn't with her when I was having the beer.
Why not?
Because I walked up to the bar to get a beer. There's 1,000 people.
I
in this
ran into
place.
my girlfriend.
Speak not.
As far as his story, stretching his legs by the band, that's a good 30 feet away from where we were at the time. So I don't know how he could have heard anything or seen anything when there's 6-foot high people, thick all the way to the stage.
He wasn't near the stage, sir.
He said he stretched his legs by the stage.
No, that's not what he said. He said he was at the bar. He
Oh, he was right at the bar? Okay, excuse me.
Stretched his legs and he went over to the bar.
Okay, that's fine. Well, anyway.
So why don't you just worry about your testimony, not his?
Yeah, okay. She had come out of the bathroom, I think, and I was standing right. The bouncer sits at a certain spot when you enter the club. So she had come out of the bathroom. I had already gone by him and was standing right around the corner. She came by me, said something to me. I put my hand out or something, and
She said something to you like what, Mr. Parisi?
I don't really know. So I could just, she was leaving or she didn't want to be there anymore.
And you said you put your hand out. How did you put your hand out, sir?
Just stopped her for a second because she was moving kind of quickly.
So you put your hand out to stop her?
Yeah.
And what happened next?
She shrugged my hand off and said she was leaving.
So she pushed your hand
Pushed
away?
my hand away.
Okay. Go ahead.
And then, which happened really quickly, the bouncer, or bouncers, I think maybe it was one at the beginning, came up behind her and grabbed her.
How did he grab her?
He grabbed her from behind. He
I
grabbed her.
want you to show me, sir, on Miss
Came
Ackerman.
up
how
from
he
behind
grabbed her.
and grabbed her like this.
Okay.
And started to push her this way to leave.
Okay.
Okay? She turned around and, of course, started to kind of swing and shrug him off because she didn't know what was going on. Nobody quietly tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, you need to leave," which I don't know why she would have to leave anyway when she didn't push or shove or fight with me. Nothing was even going on.
And you didn't hear her say anything to the bouncer?
No, it was too loud. There's a band playing.
So you didn't hear?
No, I couldn't hear anything.
So she could have said what Mr. Taylor said she
could
said?
have said anything. I couldn't hear. It's too loud.
So she could have said...
I don't know how he could have heard.
It was so loud you couldn't hear anything. Is that what you just said?
Kind of hard to hear, yeah.
So the bouncer could have said to her, "Sorry, ma'am, you have to leave,"
While he grabbed her, sure.
while he grabbed her arm.
Sure.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Can I see the police report that you have, Mr. Hodges? Ms. Ackerman, I'm going to read you what deputy who responded to the scene that evening and actually witnessed what happened, at least outside, stated in the police report. Have you ever seen this police report?
Yes, I
Sure you
have
have.
heard what was in it.
Yeah, you heard what from your attorney, I assume. Is that right? Your attorney who told you, "I can't represent you anymore, I'm not wasting any more time on this case." Is that right?
No, that is not correct.
Yes. I assume that's why you're here and he's not. Deputy stated Ackerman was very drunk. She smelled strongly of alcoholic beverages, her movements were slow and uncoordinated, and her speech was slurred. He asked Ackerman what had happened, and while she was trying to explain, she swore, staggered, and pushed him in the chest. That's the police officer. Ackerman was trying to explain to the police officer how she was pushing her boyfriend inside the bar. Police officer asked her not to touch him while she was talking to him. Ackerman nevertheless pushed him 2 more times, and he considered arresting her for being drunk in public. Ms. Ackerman, you don't have a case. You can't hold your alcohol. You shouldn't drink your alcohol. I think that Mr. Taylor's testimony to me is quite persuasive. He's an independent witness. That's why I didn't even take the testimony of the defendant's employee, because he has a certain interest in projecting to me his side of the case. But certainly Mr. Taylor has no particular axe to grind, and according to him, and I believe him, he did not drink. So you behaved badly, and that's what happened. You behaved badly, you got thrown out. Live with it. Goodbye.
Ladies are excused. You may step out. Back to your rights.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I just wasn't comfortable that they got away with manhandling me the way they did, so I tried to make a point out of it.
I think people forget what they did under the influence of alcohol.
I wasn't my fault, whether I was drunk or not.
We had incident reports from all the employees that were involved. We had the sheriff's report. We had the independent witness.
I should have been treated a little differently.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Morin versus Byrd. Step forward, please.
Photo technician Joanne Morin is suing her ex-fiancé, construction plans examiner James Byrd, for the cost of a cruise ticket. James is countersuing for the return of a suit and for the cost of a vasectomy.
All right, Bert, I've read the papers in this case. Don't get comfortable. We're not going to be long. Miss Morin, you and the defendant dated. You were supposed to go on a cruise together. You couldn't go because a relative, I think your father, became ill. The defendant went with 2 of his children, but your son had paid for the cruise ticket. In any event, you say that he owes you $200. He says, more than happy to give you the $200, right? Give me back my suit that I left at your house. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the suit?
Yes, ma'am.
Give him the suit, Bert. I told you, this case has lots of little parts, but we're going to handle them all very quickly. Good. Now you have your suit. The suit goes on your side, and plaintiff gets $200. Are you happy? Good. On your side, you have a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Your counterclaim is twofold. A, you wanted your suit back, you got your suit. You want her, A, to give you back the engagement ring.
Oh, the money for it, yes.
Where's the engagement ring?
I have it with me right here.
Perfect.
You want to see?
No. Goes back. Goes to his team. Happy now? Almost.
Almost.
The other part, you're not going to even be happy that you raised, sir. You want her to pay for a vasectomy that she insisted that you have because she didn't want any more children.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Did she grab you by the hand and take you to the doctor?
No, she...
Very good. Then you don't get paid for the vasectomy. You're over 21, you made a choice. If you don't like the choice, you have to live with it or get it reversed. Goodbye and good luck. That takes care of this.
Bodies are excused. You may step out.
Actually made a lunch date with his brother to discuss the vasectomy. He discussed it more with his brother than he had with me.
I tried to avoid the whole situation, and it wasn't avoidable.
I think the worst part about the whole thing is that innocent people had gotten hurt because of our actions.
When you fall in love with somebody and they want you to have an operation, I think you ought to think twice.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Damaris versus Harrington, Adinolfi. Step forward, please.
20-year-old homemaker Shannon Damaris is suing her former friends, 19-year-old salesperson Holly Harrington and 22-year-old car salesman Tony Adinolfi, for the return of her cat, Smokey.
Okay, Mr. Maris, you had a cat. Your cat's name was Smokey. Something happened, you had to move from where you were living, you couldn't take the cat with you. You asked the defendants, who were friends of yours, if they would take care of your cat for a while. That while turned into a long while, and now you want your cat back, and they say it's not your cat anymore. It's our cat.
Right.
Right, okay. So I need some facts. When did you get Smokey?
Smokey was given to me about 3 years ago.
What do you mean about 3 years ago? Let's get a month and year.
November of '99.
By whom?
My boyfriend's brother.
As a kitten?
They had him as a kitten, and then they gave him to us, yes.
But you didn't get him as a kitten?
No, I didn't get him as a kitten.
When you say he was given to us, you were living with your boyfriend at the time? Yep. So the cat was given to your boyfriend?
He was given to us as a couple, yes.
And then you got custody of the cat when you separated?
We never separated.
So you're still together?
Yep.
Oh, that's so interesting. When did you give the cat to the defendants?
I had given the cat in her custody in the middle, probably around the 15th of February.
And when did you ask for the cat back?
I asked for the cat back in June. That's a lie.
Let's say you asked for the cat back 5 months later. Where were you for 5 months?
I had asked for the cat in June because on my birthday, which was July 21st, is when I attempted to actually get the cat. But
That's July.
Yeah,
so
I attempted in June to get the cat. I said I'm going to be taking the cat, and she just kind of put her head down and walked away.
Fine. So then you didn't do anything in June. So the first time you tried to get the cat back was in July, which was 6 months later. Where had you been for 6 months?
I had been living with my parents. My landlord at the time, I had to move in with my parents, and the landlord didn't allow it because we had 3 pets already. And when my dog died, that kind of gave me an opportunity to bring another animal in, and my landlord allowed that at that time.
Where was the boyfriend?
He's incarcerated.
When did he become incarcerated?
On January 24th of 2002.
Is that why you lost your apartment?
Yep.
Okay. How many animals do you have now?
We have 2 cats.
Did you have those 2 cats before?
Those are my parents' cats.
Well, where are you living now?
I'm living with my parents.
And these 2 cats that are your parents' cats, have they ever lived with Smokey?
No.
They have not?
No.
Why would you want to take this cat back now?
Because
now we're talking about almost a year later.
The reason it's a year is because they dragged it out, basically. I attempted to get. I told them in June that
Listen to me. July is when you first. That's 6 months. We're not talking about bringing home a sweater or 4 new tires. According to the defendants, it was supposed to be a short-term arrangement for a month, and you were also supposed to give them some money to take care of the cat, which you never did. Is that right?
That's correct.
No money, no vet bills, no food, no anything else. But more importantly, you're treating this as if it was an inanimate object.
I care very much about my cat.
I don't care about you. I don't care about you. You have a cat. You disappear for 6 months. You're out of the picture for 6 months. That animal has bonded with a new family. And now you say a year later, I want my cat back.
I attempted to get my cat back, and they dragged
6 months later.
No, about 4 months later.
No.
There was no agreement of how long. The thing is, I couldn't take care of the cat at the time, and me and my friend came together, and she said, "I will help you out."
Who are you?
Can I say something?
Who are you?
I'm her witness.
To what?
To what happened about the agreement and everything.
She wasn't even there, Your Honor. She was there.
No, she was not.
Come on. When were you there?
Your Honor, technically I wasn't there for the agreement, but...
Sit down. Then I'm not interested in technically. If technically you weren't there, this is a court. This is technical. You're suing for $500. You're not getting the cat back. How much is the value of the cat to you?
He's part of me is what he's the value of it.
Part of you. When something is part of you, like a child, then you don't give it up for 6 months.
I didn't give it up for 6 months. I attempted to get my cat, and they dragged it out. And I offered
No, you're not following, madam. What you did was tell me that the cat came into their possession in February. You told her in June you were going to be coming for the cat, but you didn't go there until July.
Yes,
that's 6 months.
I went there several times, and I visited with the cat and everything.
Just a
and
second.
she never mentioned
Just
ever.
Did you go to visit the cat every day?
Not every day, about twice a week. About twice a week I'd hang out over there.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Sure it is. Case is dismissed, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was my cat, and I did attempt to get him back several times.
When we first got him, he was very neglected, not taken care of.
They are the one that has dragged it out this long, not me.
She definitely neglected the animal. She's got previous histories of neglecting her animals. I hear she can't even take care of her own child, never mind her animals.
Don't trust your friends.
And now the next.
कि उसको मैं उसको से मैं मामा नवी देखे नहीं जल्दी आ था मैं आना होता पता नहीं मतलब से गेम को पूरा गेम से मामा तनवी ने घर गया तो मैं मक्की नहीं है ना नहीं अब ले रहे हैं काल का उसी ना ये काल का मैं उसका भी